Hello, all you beautiful beings of love and light. This is a video that I just wanted to record. Um, Something has really been weighing very heavy on my heart and on my spirit and on my mind. So I just wanted to talk about it since when I lost my job in 2020, thanks to COVID, I lost my health insurance as well, so I can't see my normal therapist anymore. And the free therapy hotlines is literally a person lets you rent for about 10 minutes. They give you some Hallmark bullshit ass responses, give you a little pat on the ass, and send you on your way so they can take the next caller. So that's not something that really helps me out a whole lot. And until I get my health insurance back in this, back activated, whatever, and I can go to regular therapy. I'm just trying something new just because there's something I really need to talk about and bring some light to and kind of bring to the forefront. This is something that I've struggled with over a decade from the time I was a teenager up until this very second. I don't know if I've said that already. I'm nervous right now. Very nervous to talk about this, but this video is going to be unedited. I'm just going to record it. I'm not going to pause. I'm not going to start over. Hopefully my phone doesn't be whack and it'll let me record the whole thing. But life is raw. Life is unedited. So here we are. Small disclaimer. While I am not about to apologize to anybody for what I look like, because I'm beautiful whether you think so or not, I have very bad anxiety. So to defend myself in advance, yes, I'm aware. My wig is not Brazilian, Malaysian, Beyonce HD lace. Okay, I get that. You may see a nappy edge peeking out in front. It's not laid properly. It's not really even suited for my big ass head, but I love this color, so I wear it anyway. My eyebrows are not on fleek. My face is not beat for the gods. My waist is not, well, guess for a big girl that is pretty snatched, but if you are looking for Instagram filter, HD, Facetune type looks, you can, it's a little X up in that corner. You just click that, get on out of here. If you're here to get some healing and you resonate with that, welcome in. So let's get right into it. Limerence. I recently came to the term that is something that affects me. I am a limerent person. I acknowledge and I own that. What is limerence? Limerence is a state of infatuation or obsession with another person that involves all-consuming passion and intrusive thoughts. It includes obsessive thoughts and fantasies and a desire to form a relationship with the object of love and have one's feelings reciprocated. It can also be defined as an involuntary state of intense desire. The term was coined by psychologist Dorothy Tanoff in 1979. She describes it as an involuntary, potentially inspiring state of adoration and attachment to a limerent object, called the LO, involving intrusive and obsessive thoughts, feelings, and behaviors from euphoria to despair, contingent on perceived emotional reciprocation. It can also include ruminative thinking, anxiety and depression, temporary fixation, and the disintegration of the self, fear of rejection, that's a huge one in my case, shyness, and the presence of the LO, very big one in my case. The unobtainable nature of the goal is what makes it so powerful. In cases of unrequited limerence, which is my case, relief may be found by vividly imagining reciprocation from the limerent objects. Feelings can be intensified through adversity, obstacles, or distance. A limerent person may have sensitivity to any act, thought, or condition that can be interpreted favorably. This may include a tendency to devise, fabricate, or invent reasonable explanations for why neutral actions are a sign of hidden passion in the limerent object. Idealization is a major component as well. Admirable traits are over-exaggerated, while negative traits are given little to no acknowledgement. So, the first time I came into awareness of the word limerence was this was a while ago, maybe 5-6 months ago, as I was, processing my feelings that I'm about to talk about in a minute. And I came across the word limerence. There was an article about it in a men's health magazine, and I read it, And the article was bullshit. It was literally just, yeah, dude, Limerence is when you're really obsessed with this hot chick. And dude, to get over it, just gotta shoot your shot, bruh. Just gotta shoot your shot, bruh. Men, I am so sorry to y'all because y'all are giving everybody's giving the shit end of the stick and mental health wellness. Let's just be real. There's such a stigma around mental health. But men, y'all have it the worst because it's painted as a feminine thing, and y'all need to demand better for yourselves, and I'm rooting for y'all. But that's another story for a different day. So I kind of, brushed it off, and at the time, and let me get into the story. Let's get into the story. So this all started when I was in 8th grade. I was a teenager, and I did not have a happy childhood growing up. It was very toxic. There was a lot of abuse from both of my parents, and I'm not going to get into the details on that. I'm just going to leave it there. So one of my escapes from a lot of the toxicity and a lot of the pain I was experiencing was music. I love to sing. I love to dance. And a lot of times when my parents and siblings would go to sleep, I'd sneak down in the basement and watch my dad's big screen, and I'd watch MTV. And this was back when MTV was dope. MTV had MTV Hits, MTV Jams, MTV in Espanol, like all the bomb-ass music, and they would just play straight music videos all day. And I'd go down there and I would dance, I would sing along, I would learn new moves, and just be in my element. Like that's what I loved. So one particular night, this was during Christmas break, I decided to watch BET instead of MTV. And back in the day, I don't know if they still have it. I haven't watched cable television in years, but BET used to have this thing called BET Uncut. So I decided I was going to be fast, try to be a little nasty teenager, and see some uncut shit. And it really wasn't anything. It wasn't like porn. Nobody was fucking. I don't know. YouTube don't let us say that anymore, but nobody was having sex. The most you may see is you might see a nipple, but the biggest thing was a bunch of naked booty shaking all over the place. Similar to Cardi B's twerk video would be on BET Uncut back then. So on this particular night, a video by my favorite artist, a new video came out, and I'm not going to say the name of the artist, and I'm not going to say I'm not going to say that my LO's name, because I don't want any chance of somebody that knows this person to put 2 and 2 together and go back and say, oh shit, bro, it's some crazy black girl on the internet talking about she in love with you. No. So I'm just gonna say it was a rapper that I really liked. His new video came out, and I happened to notice this guy in the background. And to this day, I have no idea why I was so attracted to this man. I don't know why. He really wasn't my type. He is now. But when I was a teenager, if you didn't look like Chris Brown or remember B2K or some pretty boy pop star, I was not checking for you. And this guy was not that. He kind of resembled, and this may tie into it, I'm not sure. He kind of slightly resembled a guy that worked at a grocery store in my city that I had a crush on when I was a teenager, but I don't even remember that dude's name. So I really don't know why I was so attracted to him. And this is rose quartz in my hand, by the way. I was intending on recording this video at the park so I could be in nature and feel a bit grounded, but it rained. But I'm fine. I got sage burning in the background. I got my rose quartz, so I'll be okay. But back to the story. So I just remember, and this was back when we still had VHS tapes. So I would take blank tapes and I would record music videos that I liked. And I remember recording this specific music video, and I would rewind it and I would just stare at him, and I would just look at him, and I would just fixate on him. And I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who the hell he was. Maybe a year later, this rapper came out with a DVD that was like a biography of his life or whatever. And being a huge fan of this rapper that I bought it. And the guy that was in the music video happened to be on it. And it turns out that I don't want to say exactly what his profession was in relation to this rapper, but he worked with him. That's all I'm gonna say. And I was able to get a name, so I Googled him. And this was back in MySpace days. I sent him a friend request on MySpace. He accepted it. I found out that he was 7 years older than I was, and I was a teenager, so he's already a grown man. I can't say anything to him. Shit's illegal. So I just remember, like, I would, be on his MySpace, and I would look at his pictures. I would read his posts, and over time, I just this admiration and affection I had for this man just continued to grow and continue to grow. And what's bizarre, I don't want, because I don't want to, stigmatize myself. I don't want to call myself crazy. What is bizarre about this is a lot of people that experience limerence, as I found out from my research, it's they experience it. So limerence is it's like pretty much a crush on steroids. And due to the nature of a lot of times it being unrequited, and a lot of the components of it have to do with a big fear of that person rejecting you, it can last a very long time. A crush, you can have a crush on somebody that can last anywhere from a few weeks up to a few months, maybe a year, and then it kind of fizzles out. You can be infatuated with someone, but infatuation, it's based in immaturity. It's based on, pretty much surface level things. So that tends to fade very easily. Because limerence is, and I will explain this later, I found out it's a lot of times it's rooted in trauma. It's rooted in negative early experiences. It's the reason why it can last a lot longer than a normal crush or infatuation. So years go on, I become an adult, I get older, I start dating other people. This guy is still on replay in my mind. I fantasize and I fantasize and I fantasize, and it's like, it got to a point where at one point I was following him on Instagram and he started dating this girl, and I cried over it, y'all. I cried. I was hurt. I was playing love songs to soothe, heartbreak love songs, fucking Dreaming with a Broken Heart by John Mayer, trying to soothe myself over this person I never met. And that's what I was getting ready to say. Like I said, I go on bunny trails and I lose my train of thought, but a lot of times when people experience limerence, it's someone that they know. It's a coworker. It's a friend of a friend. It's a neighbor. This is somebody I don't effing know, that I've never met, and who doesn't know me. They're in a completely different state. That's why this is so bizarre to me. So, like I said, and it wasn't, and I would go on about my life. I would date other guys. But when that fizzled out, I go right back to dating this person in my head. And the idea of wanting to be with him did not kick in until there was a time, I went through a very, very trying time my last year of college. I wound up getting dismissed from college because my granny had died, and my depression got really bad, like really bad. And it got to a point where I was just kind of like, F school, I can't do this. My grades dropped and I wound up getting dismissed. So what happened was, because I was living on campus and I had moved on campus to get out of the toxic environment at home, because that was still very much going on. Because I got dismissed from school, I can't stay on campus anymore. I don't have anywhere to go. So I'm homeless now. And I go check myself into a shelter. And my first night at the shelter, I remember laying on that plastic mattress, this little cute Puerto Rican girl in the bed across from me talking about all kind of nonsense. And I'm laying there. I haven't eaten in 3 days. I'm hungry. I'm tired as hell. I haven't slept. I'm like shaking. All I have is my phone, and I'm listening to the song Edge of Desire by John Mayer. I don't know why John Mayer pops up a lot in this video, but I'm listening to that over and over. And for whatever reason, I cannot stop thinking about this guy. And I'm sitting there, and I grew up in church. I grew up religious. I'm not religious now. I'm extremely spiritual now, but I'm not religious. And we'll get into that a bit later as well. So I prayed. I said, God, I need to be focusing on how to get a job and how to get myself the hell up out of here. That's what my focus needs to be on. Why am I thinking about this guy right now? And the next thought I had was, literally, this is the next thought I had. was maybe you think about him so much because this is the guy that God wants you to marry. And that thought caused a huge, Lord. I took that shit and ran with it. I started thinking that I saw signs. I would see the area code of his city and license plates, or I'd see license plates from his state, or I would see part of his name somewhere, or I would see there would be somebody near me in my vicinity that had the same name, and I would interpret that as a sign. I had started praying for him, and I would look on his social media and I would think that I was seeing signs of things that I prayed for him coming into fruition. And I didn't realize this when I was initially going through all of this, but a part of limerence is you experience highs and lows. You experience euphoria of just being so in love with this person and admiring them, and then you get to crash down to this low because then you remember you're not with them. And you become obsessed with trying to find a way to get them to like you or meet them or see them. Kind of like, you ever watch the cartoon Hey Arnold? You remember how Helga was with Arnold, how she was so obsessed. She done built a shrine to this boy in her closet. And she carried that little picture around. She was always staring at it and talking to him and fantasizing. And anytime he liked another girl, she would get extremely jealous. But she never told him how she felt. She was so afraid of that rejection. And you remember Helga's home situation was fucked up. Her mother was an alcoholic or a druggie or something. They didn't want to bring that to light because that was a kid's cartoon. But you could tell from the way her mother was always, sluggish, I need a smoothie. That woman was drinking daiquiris. Those were daiquiris. Nickelodeon, we know. Those were not smoothies. Mrs. Pataki was chugging daiquiris. Okay? Her mother was a drunk. Her daddy was obsessed with making money. Didn't pay any attention to her. And both her parents gave all their attention to the older sister. So Helga felt neglected, she felt abandoned, and she acted out in an angry kind of masculine way to kind of mask that. And we'll kind of get into that a little bit later, but that's kind of my example for that. So that went on for years, and then what ended up happening was I went on vacation to his city just 2 years ago in 2019. And I went to a music festival there where he was participating. I won't say participating. I don't want to quite say what this man does, because I really don't want nobody putting two and two together, because Lord, that would, oh God, I'm already embarrassed, but I have no need to be. I have a mental illness and it's not my fault. But anyway, carry on. I went and I was thinking, I was like, okay, this is a sign. He's at this event. I'm going to go. He's going to see me. He's going to think I'm hot. And we're going to fall in love. We're going to get married. And it's going to be that. After the show was over, I saw him and he walked out of a certain area I was in. And he was with this girl. And they could have been just friends. I don't know. But all of a sudden, I just started panicking. I was like, I am crazy. I cannot approach this man. He's going to think I'm a stalker. He's going to think I'm psycho. I done came all the way, then got on a plane and flew all the way down here to see somebody that doesn't even fucking know me. That could be his girlfriend. He might not like black girls. He might not like big girls. And I wasn't even that big at this point. I gained weight, a lot of weight over this pandemic. But during this time, I had just lost 50 pounds. I gained it all back during the fucking pandemic. But we gonna get back snatched. But that's not the point of this video. So I just had all these crazy thoughts of him not liking me. And I remember while I was being there, I was always on the lookout for him. Instead of enjoying myself at this damn music festival, I was looking out for him, trying to see if I can find him somewhere, hoping he would notice me, so all type of shit. And when I actually did see him, he did look in my direction, and I was looking good. I was looking good. I had on a gold sequin mini dress. I had on some fishnets and some knee-high stiletto boots. And I had on this long mermaid red wavy wig. It was fly. It was fly. Um, excuse me. Allergies. So he may have been attractive, but I wasn't about to stick around to find out. I just left. Spent $200-300 on a ticket to that damn festival, and didn't even stay to finish enjoying myself. I freaked out when I saw him. I freaked out at the idea of rejection that didn't even happen, and I ran out of there. And there were 2 other times where I went to 2 other festivals in hopes of seeing him, but he was not there. So that's pretty much the story. And what led me to figuring out that it was limerence was, like I said, I would go back and forth from having this euphoria of believing that this man was a man that God had, created for me to marry, and, feeling all the attraction and the fantasies of him holding me and kissing me and, telling me I'm beautiful, to the lows of like reality. This man don't know me. He does not love me. And he probably may not. I've seen girls he's dated, and they're thin and vanilla. I'm thick and chocolate. I'm a bit too decadent for his taste, but that's okay. That is okay. So back to how I found out it was limerence. So when I would experience those lows, a lot of times I would tell myself, I'd shit on myself saying, oh, he don't like black girls. And who doesn't like a fucking black girl? Clock that. Who don't like a fucking black girl? What's not to like, boo? What's not to like? The disintegration of self, shitting on myself for not being what this person that I don't even know wants. And then I would think to myself, this is crazy. I'm obsessed. I was/am. I'm obsessed. This is just all in my head. It is. I was like, and at the time I thought I was an erotomaniac. An erotomaniac it's similar to limerence, but that's more so, an erotomaniac is like maybe Monique's character in The Parkers when she played Nikki. How she was obsessed with Professor Ogilvy, and she was literally convinced that this man was in love with her, and she would stalk him and chase him even though he clearly could not stand her ass. And even though in that series at the end they wind up getting married, 9 times out of 10 real erotomaniac situations don't end that way. And I'm not trying to shit on anybody's mental illness. I'm not trying to stigmatize anyone. Symptoms and effects differ from person to person. However, there are cases where people who are erotomaniacs, they stalk the object of their affections. They stalk them, they harass them, and sometimes it ends violently. For example, the young lady, I believe her name is, what's that baby girl's name? She was on The Voice, I think. Was it Christina Ricci? I'm sorry. I really don't be keeping up with a lot of pop culture things these days, but was it Grammy? Was her name? I know her first name is Christina. She was shot and killed after one of her shows. The man that killed her was an erotomaniac. He was upset that she was performing a concert and giving attention to the crowd, and he wanted her to be focused on him. He felt some type of way, so he took her life. Not every erotomaniac it gets violent, but there are situations where that happens. I knew I was an erotomaniac because I had an extreme self-doubt that this man could ever like me. And the main component of erotomania is you literally believe that the person you're in love with is in love with you, even if they're showing you clear signs that they're not. So I was like, okay, that can't be it because I have all this doubt. And at one point, I was feeling like maybe my doubt is just my ego getting in the way. It's blocking me from manifesting this great love into my life. And it was just all these crazy highs and lows. And so over the last couple days, I've been working on manifesting things into my life that to better me. And I've just been getting, it's been being put very heavy on my heart that there are a lot of things that I need to release. So I released a lot of friends, a lot of potential partners from my life that were not serving, that did not have my best interest. And then it was something pressing on me, like there's still something you need to let go of. There's still something you need to let go of. And I, for whatever reason, was not willing to face the music. Um, I still wanted to hold on to this fantasy, to this dream. So I just started doing meditations to release energies, release negative entities, release all kinds of terrible, and I don't want to say terrible, but just release things that don't serve. And I just kept, and then, I was, still having a lot of those low feelings, And so I said, you know what? I said, I am a beautiful, amazing individual, and I deserve real love. I, first of all, deserve to love myself. I deserve to feel good about myself. And and the thing is, I would get into, there were times where I would literally pray and cry to God to remove this attraction, remove this obsession from me. I'd be like, God, if this is not the man you have for me, please stop me from liking him. And it wasn't happening. It just was not happening. And so I was thinking, okay, maybe God won't take this from me because it's real. It's meant to be. And I even, like, I went to a reader and to try to figure some stuff out. Like, I paid someone $80 to get a reading. She was an angel reader, not like a tarot card reader, but she reads energies. And she was saying, what she was telling me is, she's like, oh, the angels are saying you haven't given them a chance. You got to give them a chance. You just ran away from them. You got to give them a chance. And so I kind of took that and ran with it. And she's a good reader, so she's not about to say yes, you're meant to be, or no, because a lot of readers don't, they don't get off into that. They don't really give you definitive answers, they're predictions. So I kind of took that as, okay, well, maybe that means that this is something real. So back to the last couple days. Like I said, this is completely unedited. I'm just speaking from my heart. So as I was focusing on releasing things, I said, you know what? Even if by the slightest glimmer of a chance, this man is my soulmate, I said, this attachment I feel to him is not healthy, because it's making me feel bad about myself. It's making me, when I, as I mentioned, there's a lot of things I want to manifest for myself, like living a healthy lifestyle, losing this weight, manifesting a beautiful career, multiple streams of income that allow me freedom to travel and take care of myself and, enjoy myself, but still do things that I love and inspire other people. I want to move out of state. I want my own apartment so I don't have to have roommates anymore. All these beautiful things that I want to have for my life. But I realized that as I was working on manifest them, and I believe wholeheartedly in the law of attraction and manifestation, as I was working on manifesting them, my energy was very blocked. And I noticed I would manifest things that were false. Like, for example, I wanted to, as I mentioned, I want a career that allows me to work from home, set my own schedule, and that gives me a good amount of income. Someone contacted me through a job search website where I posted my resume, offering me a position that gave me just that, and it turned out to be a scam. Luckily, I didn't get too deep into it. I was able to get out, but example. So I was like, this attachment isn't healthy. So I was doing meditations to release him. Let him go. You free to love who you love. I'm free to love who I love. Let's cut the ties, sever soul contracts, things of that nature. And right after I did that meditation, this was last night, y'all. This was last night. Right after I did that meditation, I just happened to go to Google. And because I was still thinking about it, and I was writing affirmations about it, like, telling myself, I don't need him to love me to feel good. I don't need him to find me to be, just because he may not find me beautiful doesn't mean that I am not. Just because I don't end up with him doesn't mean that there isn't someone for me. Writing these things out and, just trying to get these feelings out. And I went and I Googled, can a crush last longer than 10 years? And limerence pops up again. And I'm like, I've seen this word before. But this time it led me to Wikipedia. And when I looked it up on Wikipedia, I said, Lord have mercy. This is it. This is what this is. This is what this is. This is what I'm struggling with. This is my problem. This is the issue. As I'm reading the symptoms, and well, not really symptoms, but components of it, and things that go along with it, and things that the limerent person experiences and why it happens, such a huge light bulb went off. And I was like, oh my God. What I realized is that at the time that I discovered, because I never met him, so we'll say discovered this this guy. Like I said, I had a very, very toxic childhood. I experienced a lot of abuse from both of my parents. And so obviously I have daddy issues. And at the same time, when I was in 8th grade, my 8th grade teacher was very verbally abusive, not just to me, but to the whole class. So when formerly school would be like my safe space from home, I didn't have that anymore because the environment in the classroom was toxic and everybody was anxious and on edge. So I was just in a time in my life where I was just feeling very, very, very unloved. You know, my teacher hates me, my parents hates me, the kids in school don't really fuck with me like that. Sorry, I keep saying fuck. There we go. YouTube just gonna have to deal. Kids at school don't really vibe with me like that, and it's just I've always yearned for love because I never felt it. And of course, you know, if your parents aren't giving you that love and your parents aren't speaking life into you, you're gonna grow up hating yourself. I hated myself. And even outside of the feelings that I have from my LO, even crushes I had on boys at school, they made it clear that they didn't like me. You know, they weren't attracted to me. I wasn't one of the pretty girls, but I would always do things. Well, maybe if I say a funny joke, or maybe if I do this or act like this, he'll like me. I was obsessed with getting that person to like me. And I realized at that time when I saw that, and like I said, I don't know why it had to be this person. I don't know why it had to be this person. I'm still trying to figure that out why. But when it happened, I noticed that the fantasies, it gave me a feeling of somebody loves me. And I remember there were 2 different times where I talked to a therapist about this. And limerence is not something, it's not a hugely known topic. It's not something that scientists discuss a whole lot. It's not something that's discussed in mental health spaces a whole lot. So, because, you know, it's a fairly new concept. It was only coined back in the 70s. So my first therapist, she was like, well, is there something about him that you like? And I said, well, you know, he's of this ethnic background. I always grew up being attracted to this particular ethnic background. I ain't gonna say what it is. And she was like, okay, there you go. And I was like, no, it has to be deeper than that, because I think about him every day, almost constantly. Like the minute I wake up, he's the first thing I think about when I wake up and the last thing I think about when I go to sleep. And she was like, well, do you just sit up looking at his social media all day? And I was like, no, not really. I mean, I look at it often, like at least every few days, a few times a week. I said, but it's just, he's always on my mind. And she was like, huh? And she didn't, she never addressed it again. Then the next therapist that I spoke to about it, her response was, well, it's because it's all in your head. There's no risk. You don't risk getting hurt. And because I have PTSD and I have borderline personality disorder, so I am very, very, very afraid of rejection and of someone hurting me. And she was like, it's because it's in your head. There's no risk. He can't hurt you. If it's all in your imagination, it can be perfect all the time. And she was correct. But I was like, I believe it's even deeper than that, though. So, and then what also came to mind was, like I said, I grew up religious. My mother was a Christian. She still is. And she made us go to church. And in church, a lot of the kind of analogies they give about the relationship between a human and God, or a human and Jesus, they're very much romanticized. They say things like the bride of Christ, and Jesus Christ is coming for his bride, and God is your lover. He loves you. It's love, and he embraces you, and he kisses you, and you are so precious to him. And it's just all this love, these things that I had never experienced from anybody before, that I so desperately wanted to feel and so desperately wanted to experience. So, and then when also during this time when I was in 8th grade, that was when, 8th graders, they take sex ed. Because I went to a private Christian school, instead of giving us the real sex ed like schools should have, it was abstinence based. So instead of, they tried to scare us out of using condoms. They told us condoms wouldn't work, that they would break, that they have holes in them from the factory. They didn't even talk about birth control. Of course, abortion is not on the table. And they stress making girls, you can't be sexy, you gotta cover it up, you can't turn a man on. All your goodies gotta be saved for your husband. And God has a wonderful man for you. And they even had us write letters. They had us write letters to our future husband. That is not something that a teenage girl with severe self-esteem issues who desperately wants to be loved needs to be doing. But I did it, and that I feel like that had something to do with it, because that's what they teach you at church. They don't teach you about dating. They don't teach you about vetting people. They don't teach you about going out and experiencing life and finding out what you like and having all these beautiful connections and meeting beautiful, different, vibrant people. No, you got to sit home, you got to close your legs, and you got to wait for God to drop this man out the sky and fall into your lap. And lately, I've been getting a lot of nudges from Spirit that I need to release a lot of my religious upbringing and the programming that was put into me from being at church. And this is no shade to anyone who's a Christian. This is no shade to anyone who's religious. We all have the freedom to believe what we want to believe. And if Christianity and religion is amazing for you and you're having a great experience with it, kudos. That wasn't the case for me. I prefer New Age, more modern, more open-minded spirituality. I still believe in God. I still acknowledge Jesus sometimes, but I don't read the Bible. For me, there's a lot of messed up stuff in the Bible. I don't go to church regularly. I don't go to a normal Christian church. I go to, when church was open, I went to a free-thinking church where they welcomed people that were atheists. Anybody from any faith could attend. And they spoke more about community and more about what it means to be human instead of religion. So I just really, it's like now, even though in this second, I do have to say, thank God, after doing those meditations, the longing and the longing is gone. Like, I don't feel like I have to be with him. I don't feel like I have to. If I don't meet him, then my life is just going to go to shit like I was feeling. Thank God I don't feel that. But I'm still crazy about this man. I still like him. I still have fantasies. And I did some more digging, and I kind of came to the conclusion that I might need to get on medication. I might need to get on antidepressants, and there's nothing wrong with that. Specifically one that helps stop intrusive thoughts. Because I can't move forward in my life, and I can't fully love myself if I'm looking at all those things out of the lens of what someone else may or may not think about me. I just can't. And so that's pretty much it. I'm a limerent person. And it is exhausting. It's painful. It makes me feel like I'm not good enough. But I know that that's a lie. I know that I am more than good enough. I am more than enough. And I know that there is someone out there who will think that I am all that and more. And it don't gotta be this boy. In fact, I don't want it to be. I'm tired of his ass running through my brain. You cute, but I'm tired of your ass. Get out of here. It's been too long. And as I was, doing research outside of medication, because the thing is, I do smoke marijuana. Marijuana helps tremendously with my PTSD. The problem with marijuana though is when you have good feelings, it amplifies them. So if my good feelings are revolved around this guy, it's going to amplify that. And it's going to amplify the euphoria around him. And I don't want that. So I gratefully last night I found a blog, and I'll link it down below, about someone who is struggling with limerence and living with it. And they talk about their experience, and they have different articles in there about how things you can do to kind of get rid of it or cure it. And in one of the articles, it said something along, it was like 3 specific things. It said to avoid contact. I'm already doing that. I'm in a different state. The only contact I guess you can have is I look at his social media pages, and I listen to a podcast that he does. It said to try to think up negative traits that they have. That is very hard, as I don't really know this man. And he's kind of, and the crazier thing is, he's not very vocal online. He's not very present online. He's kind of aloof. He's kind of mysterious. So that's the crazier part. I don't know